Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this special episode of Really Dicey. This is Manny,
And I'm Matt, and
and
it's
today
October.
it is October.
October
Yes,
2022. The
a good
witching
time.
season.
Yes, and
Oh,
a good time for hauntings, and also a good time to find some really interesting crowdfunding projects, which we're going to
right.
talk about today. But before we talk about our some of the RPG stuff that's on the crowdfunding internet world right now, there's some stuff that we've worked on that are out there right now that you can check out that's still being crowdfunded right now. Like the definitely standing out, the Monty Python RPG that's not an RPG. Wink, wink.
Oh, yes. That is very, very silly.
Yes, yes, and I
Very wonderfully silly. If you like Monty Python, you should definitely check it out because let's face it, like, a good 30% of an RPG session is Monty Python quotes anyway. So why don't you just go whole hog and just get the whole game? It looks
yes.
hilarious. It's really funny. It's got crazy dice. I mean, really crazy funny dice, if you can believe that. And it's got a wonderful looking book and a silly system, and it's just great. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, I really want those dice. I really want
Yeah.
those dice. And also, I did some other projects. There's a 7C expandable card game that we did an interview with the creators. Also, Code Warriors by Nerdburger Games. If you've been following us or even following Nerdburger, they make Craig makes incredible games. So you should definitely check that out, especially if you like Tron meets the Apocalypse. I think that's a kind of really cool idea. Um, and Also, a while back, we talked about Cowboy Bebop, the RPG, and I
Yeah.
thought it was out already, but it looks like it's just been it came back to Kickstarter. So we'll put a link for that as well if you're interested in knowing about that again. So yes, let's talk about some newer things that are out there that we haven't put out on Really Dicey yet. Matt, what have you found?
Okay, well, the first thing on my list is a game called Castaway. This game uses the Morkborg system, but crucially, you don't need Morkborg to play the game. The book contains everything you need. So in this game, you are castaways on an island, and you're trying to survive. But this game describes itself as survivalist horror, and it really leans into the struggle to survive. It's got rules for fatigue, it's got rules for diseases, it's got rules for overexposure, it's got complicated rules for weather. So any way that an island could kill you shows up in this game. And that's before we get to the horrible creatures on the island and your other castaways trying to kill you. what's, what's great about this game is that it's very honest about your chances of survival. It really says that you will most likely die in a horrible way in this game, and it encourages you to embrace that. And this is really clever. So your character dies, and another one washes up on shore. so this looks like a really fun game of really desperately trying to survive and then dying anyway.
So this game has nothing to do with Tom Hanks and a volleyball.
No, I don't think so. But you can go mad as well. It's not just baking to death and starving to death and being eaten. You can also go mad. And this is pretty funny. Apparently, it's set up so you can take all those rules, but the fatigue and the weather and all these other ways to die, and import them into your Morgbork game if Morgbork wasn't dark enough for you for some reason. So this looks like a great little game. of just dying. It does mention that you can escape, maybe, possibly escape the island. So you have a goal, but I wouldn't hold my breath. So this game is fully funded. You can get the PDF for $15. For $30, you can get a hard copy of the game. And it looks like a great little hardcover book of madness and death. So happy Halloween. That's what we all need, a tropical vacation.
I'm glad you shared that, because I've sort of seen it, that project being shared on social media.
Yeah.
I've been curious about it, but hearing you describe it, that sounds like a really fun thing to try out.
It does sound fun. I got to be honest. Morkborg really isn't my cup of tea. It's just so relentlessly dark and oppressive. But somehow the idea of dying on a little castaway tropical island seems like a lot of fun. I don't quite know what the difference is, but there you go.
Call it Cthulhu meets Gilligan's Island.
There you go. Maybe it's Gilligan's Island. There you go.
You remember some time ago we reviewed the Stranger Things D&D 5e box set? Do you remember that?
I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about that. I wish there was some more to it, because all it had was just 2 flimsy books and a cool miniature of the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Or at least their version of Demogorgon.
Yeah.
But there's a book coming out that was released some time ago, but they're converting it to old school essentials called Dark Places and Demogorgons. And I'm surprised I hadn't really looked into this before, because the premise sounds great. It's just like Stranger Things. You're actually you're playing like kids or teens in the 80s, role playing, and then just strange things start happening.
Okay.
Obviously inspired from Stranger Things, but I haven't seen anything. There's been some games out here that they're trying to emulate it here and there, and especially the D&D version, which I'm really surprised at how bare bones it is. Because you would think that, such a popular TV series, they would like go all out and make a really cool box set.
Yeah, honestly, I think the D&D thing was a kind of a marketing stunt. It wasn't role-playing Stranger Things. It was role-playing D&D that made reference to some of the Stranger Things stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But not to take away from Dark Places and Demogorgons. Again, it looks fantastic. They even took the opportunity to make the book look like an old school essentials book.
Nice, yeah, because I really like the aesthetic. That's good.
And even if you have the older version, which I think has its own rule set, they're coming out with the Cryptid Manual, which is their own monster manual, but it's all about the kind of the modern horror stuff that we're hearing now, like the Mothman, Slender Man.
Oh, okay, right.
Things like that. So I am really excited about this project. I really want to get that book, because also I just love the fact that it fits so well with old school essentials. So it doesn't feel out of place. It feels like it's part of the line. So I don't know. I just think that's a fantastic idea.
You're playing the kids, right?
Yeah. So it has its own classes and rules. So, there's rules about psionics.
Okay. So there's new classes, and do you get all the rules in the book?
You do need old school essentials to play it.
You need old school essentials to play.
Okay. You do need it. So think of it as a source book that has additional rules if you want to incorporate, something like Stranger Things into your game. So I think so. I would play this definitely. I just think it's a really well done project.
So the next on my list is the Cats of Rahtlü, I think. This is a first level adventure for Dungeon Crawl Classics. Do you remember that Lovecraft story in the Dreamlands, but the town of Ulthar, where it's illegal to kill a cat?
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, okay, so this adventure takes place there. They've changed the name of the town, but it's basically that place. You show up, the adventures in 3 parts, right? The adventurers arrive in town, they learn about the mysterious goings on, and Act 2 they find an entrance to an underground catacombs, and then Act 3 is all hell breaks loose. So they don't give too much away here, but it's obviously got a lot of cats in it. And it features a hex crawl style of randomly generated catacomb maps, which is kind of cool. So apparently there isn't a map. The map is randomly generated as you play. I like that. That's pretty neat. And so you get a 30-page adventure, and the stretch goals, which they haven't reached yet, include tiles, like hex tiles, to help you create that catacomb look. So it looks like a lot of fun, and DCC is a great system, and this is a good cheap thing to get into. So it's already been fully backed. You can get the PDF for $8, and you can get a hard copy for $15. So worth checking out if you need a new adventure for your DCC characters. Kind of that crazy Lovecraftian vibe.
There's a game coming out called Nevermore, the role-playing game, which obviously it sounds inspired by Poe, but it also includes like Melville, James, Wharton, and so forth. But yeah, it's pretty much you're playing that gothic horror setting, and it's its own rule system. It uses a card-based system
for the whole system, like instead of dice.
Yeah. Poe is one of my favorite writers, one of my favorite poets. If you put Poe on something, I'm probably going to buy it anyway. But this does look like it looks like a really fun thing to do. You have these series of adventures like the classic gothic stuff, like you're in a haunted house, and it just sounds like a really fun thing to do. I wish I could show you the art, but like what they use for the cards and for the player characters and things like that. It looks like if you can use like playing cards for the game, so you don't have to worry about like buying a whole new extra additional things for the game. And it comes with a free quick start to check out. But yeah, it's intriguing enough that I think any fan of Poe, any fan of gothic horror from that time period would probably enjoy this.
For me, I've saved the best for last. This is called the Lost Dungeons of Tonisborg, and this goes right back to the very beginning of the hobby. So in the summer of 1973, Arnson and Gygax were still working on the manuscript for D&D. A gentleman called Greg Svensson was given a playtest copy of the new games, and he wrote this giant dungeon, like this big mega dungeon, and is generally acknowledged to be the second oldest mega dungeon in role-playing history. And so he and Arnson and some other people got together and played the game, and they ended up putting it in Blackmore, Arneson's system. So they thought they'd lost all copies of the map, and it went down in the annals of history as the lost dungeon. Well, they've recently discovered some photocopies that somebody had of the map. So you have 10, I believe it's 10 levels of this dungeon. But more than that, you have Svensson's notes on how he ran the game and advice on running the game and all his thoughts put together. Now, this is amazing because this was pre D&D. 1973, the game hadn't come out yet. So, this is like before anything else.
Yeah.
So it's a really good window into what was going on then. It's historical, and then it's also a whole bunch of advice on how to run the game. Plus, it's you get all this dungeon stuff as well. So on top of everything else, there's this dungeon involved. And you also, when you pledge, you also get a 3-day rental of the movie Secrets of Blackmore, which I know you and I have been meaning to watch, which is all about this proto D&D campaign that Arneson ran. So I'm really excited about this. I have really, really become interested in the early history of the hobby. So I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied here. I'm so excited. So you can download off the Kickstarter a PDF of 11 sample pages, so you can see what it's like. So you can read some of it. And there's also a conversion for the dungeon parts of it to 5e if you want to try 5e. And I think not only OSR people can benefit from this, but even if you play 5e, if you play the newest version of Dungeons and Dragons, I think there's something to be learned from looking back at the beginning of the hobby. So I think this is absolutely fantastic. This is completely funded already. You can pledge support and get a look at the movie for $5. For $60, you can get the soft cover, and for $100, you can get the hardcover. So it just looks like a wonderful work. It's full color representations of the original maps, plus updated dungeon maps. And let's see. So the book's about 156 pages long.
Wow.
It's top quality printing. So it's really going to last. So I think this is a fantastic book. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm going to back this.
Oh yeah. I would love to see what the early creators were thinking of, for dungeons, like some of their ideas. So, I agree with you. I mean, even if I never get to play it, it's almost like reading a history book.
Yes. And it's really fantastic the way it's not just one thing. It's like 3 books together. It's advice, history, and the mega dungeon.
Oh, that's really awesome. Okay. My next suggestion is from Quality Games called Lex Arcana, Britannia, and Mysteries of the Empire 2. And I think, Matt, we've talked before about how much I like historical, sort of pseudo-historical RPGs. The historical RPGs that includes some magic and stuff, and some fantasy.
Right. Because no one wants their character to die of dysentery. I mean, you don't want to be too realistic. Unless you're playing Castaways.
Yes.
But anyway, go on. I digress.
But yeah, I like playing games where everything fits well to the setting, to the culture, to the time period. And Lex Arcana, I haven't picked up the first book, and I've been meaning to, because Lex Arcana is pretty much takes place during the not sure where in the Roman Empire, but during the Roman Empire. I don't know toward the end or toward the beginning, but yeah, it has same armor, same weapons, plus magic, plus the monsters during that time. And this is an expansion where they look into Britannia, so we're going to get more of a expanse on the expansion of the mythology that they have set up already. Cool. Mysteries of the Empire 2, it looks like they just more expansion, more building up of what they built so far. And it has some great creators behind it. It looks like the same team that's done Inferno the RPG, and it's the same group of Italian creators and designers. So art looks fantastic. Though it has its own unique rule system. At least I haven't seen another system have it, and I'm still trying to understand it. But it's interesting where you roll dice, and instead of like rolling for initiative and then attack separately, it's sort of in one. So if you roll, you roll high, you're the attacker. And
Okay. Yeah.
and if you roll low, you're the defense. So it's very interesting, and I'm still trying to learn about it. There is a quick start involved, which I'm also reading and trying to look into. But they do a really good job in making you feel like you're going back in time and sort of going back in time and seeing
Sure.
these becoming part of the story. So that I'm excited about this project.
Excellent.
Oh,
Excellent.
and one last project to plug, and I don't know if it's too late to do so. It might be over by the time this video comes out. But I want to talk a little bit about FlipDie. I'll put a link for that as well. It's a coin where you flip it and it's a D20. You know,
Okay.
so it's you have to look at the video to how the engineering behind it, how it works. Because when I first heard about it, I was like, okay, how is that possible? But they do something so that like one side has 1 to 10, the other one has 11 to 20, and then there's like a little ball in there that goes into a certain section of the coin and lets you know like what number it is randomly. And they have different designs for it. You know, the one I want is the one with the spider, because I'm all about drows.
Sure.
But they have different types of designs, and I just want to let people know about that. If you see this video and there's still time, you should definitely check that out. That it looks amazing.
Okay, great. Well then, that's it for today. Let's wrap it up so Manny can edit this and get it out.
and please like, subscribe. The little bit you do helps us.
Yes.
So yeah, everyone, take care. We'll see you next month.